Hi, I'm Steve Younis. Welcome to the Speeding Bulletin, your Superman news video recapping the events of the week November 6th and November 12th, 2015. Our top news stories this week included Charles Roven says a new Batman v Superman trailer is coming soon. We have a new promo video for the 4th episode of Supergirl. And we've launched our 2015 Shield Awards. Let's check out these stories and more in this week's Speeding Bulletin. In movie news, Collider.com recently sat down for a chat with Charles Roven, producer on Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, to discuss the superhero films, the balance of characters, and when we might see a new trailer for the upcoming movie.
Honestly, you're going to be seeing something very soon.
I wonder, so does that mean it's on Spectre?
I'm not saying. What I am saying is you're going to be seeing something. Okay. Now, I don't know how you define soon, but certainly before the end of the year. How about that?
It's interesting how merchandise can sometimes unwittingly reveal scenes or plot points from upcoming films. It's unknown whether or not this is the case for Batman v Superman. However, a LEGO playset titled Heroes of Justice Sky High Battle depicts a battle scene between Lex Luthor flying a helicopter with Lois Lane hanging off the side, engage in air-to-air combat with Superman, Wonder Woman and Batman in the Batwing. Meanwhile, NJCross.com unveiled a couple of bendable products for Batman v Superman on their online store. A Batman v Superman 3-piece set of bendable action figures ranging from 5.7 to 5.9 inches tall includes Batman, Wonder Woman and Superman as they appear in the movie. There's also a Batman v Superman logo bendable keychain available. As we get closer to the release of Batman v Superman to theatres, we're starting to see the emergence of more merchandise that will tie into the movie. This week we also got a look at 8 new Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman vehicles from Hot Wheels. In TV news, in a new interview with TVinsider.com, Melissa Benoist talks about the process she went through to land the lead role in Supergirl, putting on the costume, and the work that goes into the flying and action sequences for the CBS TV series. She said, "Before we do a stunt, I get really nervous and then start thinking I won't be able to do it, that they're going to have to call in Shauna Duggins, my stunt double. Some of it is rough, but you get into a groove. It's an amazing feeling." Executive producer Andrew Kreisberg spoke with EW.com about how Kari is trying to win over people both within the fictional world of National City as well as audiences watching the show on CBS. He said her reputation on the show mirrors her reputation to the audiences. According to an article published by USA Today, Supergirl is indeed winning over audiences, and it's an even split between males and females. While the Supergirl pilot debuted to great ratings, making it the #1 show of the new season amongst adults 18 to 49, the show's numbers have dipped and dipped again with the 2nd and 3rd episodes. Supergirl's 3rd episode was watched by 8.2 million viewers, placing it 3rd among the Big 4 networks in its time slot, but it was still ahead of Gotham. Superman homepage reviewer T.A. Hewitt reviewed the 3rd episode of Supergirl, calling it the best episode yet, and he rated it a 4 out of 5. In an interview with comicbookresources.com, actor Peter Facinelli talks about being the first actor to portray a live-action version of Maxwell Lord, what his character's motivations are, and his feelings towards Supergirl. He said he's a green tech billionaire, so he's trying to save the planet in a way that's not related to superheroes. He feels humanity should save themselves. There are little differences, but he's less Forbes and more GQ. CBS released a new video in which David Harewood and Kyla Lee take us behind the scenes inside the DEO, where we get an inside look at the lab, weaponry, and more exciting set details.
Welcome to the Armory. This is like the candy shop.
Let me show you some of these things in here. We have like the semi-autos here. These are almost like the Glocks and stuff here. But of course, my personal favorite is that big guy up there.
He's the plasma ionic shooter. It shoots ions.
Yeah, whatever they are.
It does wonders for your hair.
CBS released a couple of promo videos for the 4th episode of Season 1 of Supergirl, titled How Does She Do It? Kara's two identities are stretched thin when Supergirl must protect National City from a series of bombings, and Kara is tasked with babysitting Kat's son Carter. Also, James is conflicted when his ex-girlfriend Lucy Lane seeks to rekindle their relationship. This episode will air on CBS on Monday, November 16th at 8 p.m. Levi Miller guest stars as Carter Grant, Kat's son, and Jenna Dewan Tatum guest stars as Lucy Lane. CBS issued an official description for the 6th episode of Season 1 of Supergirl, titled Red Faced. In this episode, personal and professional stress get the better of Kara when she goes too far during a training exercise against Red Tornado, a military cyborg commissioned by Lucy Lane's father, General Sam Lane. This episode will air on CBS on Monday, November 30th at 8 p.m. In comic book news, Superman American Alien is a 7-issue miniseries chronicling the life of Clark Kent and his development into the archetypal hero he will eventually become. Artist Nick Dragato spoke with DC All Access about working with Max Landis on issue number 1.
My particular story is a 12-year-old Clark Kent and his relationship with his parents, and his powers are manifesting themselves and just kind of popping up at the most awkward times. So, I mean, it's like super puberty or something.
Issue number 1 is available now. The Coming of the Superman by Neil Adams is a 6-issue miniseries that is scheduled to start in February 2016. 13thdimension.com caught up with Neil Adams to get a little bit of further insight into the coming of the Superman. He described the premise as being, what if Superman settles New Krypton on the other side of the sun, and then Darkseid comes and decides to settle there too. There was just the one comic book for us to review this week, and that was Justice League Darkseid War Superman number 1, which was reviewed by T.A. Hewitt, who gave it a 2 out of 5, saying, the premise of the story is fine, but the execution is painfully poor. Superman comics and other products available this week from November 11th include Batman Superman number 26, which is available in a variant Looney Tunes cover, DC Comics Bombshells number 4 print edition, Superman American Alien number 1, which is available in a variant cover, Teen Titans number 13 is also available in a variant monster cover, DC Comics Bombshells Chapter 17 digital comic will be available November 14th, DC presents Lois and Clark 100-page Spectacular number 1, Superman Adventures Volume 1 trade paperback, and DC Comics Super Pets Streaky plush figure. Spend 2016 with Superman, Supergirl and the Justice League. Grab this Justice League 2016 wall calendar for $10.41. Or how about a DC Bombshells 2016 wall calendar for just $9.49? These and other great 2016 calendars are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. In other news, the 5th episode of the DC Superhero Girls animated shorts is now online. Titled Power Outage, it's time for the girls to test their superpower skills, find out who passes with flying colours and who doesn't at Superhero High School. The answer might surprise you. For more DC Superhero Girls fun, head to dcsuperherogirls.com. I'm pleased to announce that our 15th annual awards ceremony for the world of Superman is now open. The Shield Awards give you, the fans, the opportunity to voice your opinions about comics with a 2015 cover date, Superman-related movies, TV shows, and Superman merchandise released in 2015. By voting in the 2015 Shield Awards, you automatically go into the draw for a chance to win a copy of Justice League Unlimited, the complete series, on Blu-ray, thanks to Warner Bros. Archive Collection. Place your votes on our 11 categories now, as voting closes at 11:59 p.m. on December 8th. That's all the news there was for the week, November 6th and November 12th. I'm Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. So, my plan this week was to not talk about the Supergirl TV show because I've done it the last few weeks in a row and I don't want to get into a habit or have people thinking that this is the Supergirl show now. But since there were some happenstances on this week's episode that really concerned our Man of Steel, and since I really do love the show, I am going to talk about it one more time. Now, here's the thing. I love it. Loved the episode. Was inspired by the episode. Had tears in my eyes at several points in my episodes. And there's our man. He's blurry. You didn't really see him. You didn't get to see his face. He didn't talk at all. Although there was a little conversation at the end of the episode, which was also very great. It was an emotional, dramatic introduction to the fact that, yes, Supergirl has a cousin, and yes, he hasn't completely butt out of her life. Still, it seems like he's butt out of her life to a point that's still out of character. He's let her get shot down with kryptonite arrows. He's let her, darts, whatever they were, he's let her face 3 now, Reactron being the 3rd. Super threats, very powerful threats that she, by all reason and logic, should not be ready for yet. Now, she has a couple of people who are working with her. They figured out how to blow up the axe in the first episode with Vartox. They figured out how to stop the Helgramite, and then she ended up fighting with her aunt, who was a general and must have had some training as a soldier, so that was an unrealistic fight as well. And now she's fighting a guy whom they state very early on, James Olsen says, even Superman hasn't been able to stop them. They fought several times, and all they've been able to do is come to a standstill. So, when Supergirl's getting the beatdown put on her, James, who Supergirl has said to him she doesn't need any help, she's not going to call in her cousin on this one, gets his little signal watch, which is cool. We get to see the signal watch right away, and calls Superman in. We don't see that till after. Superman shows up as a surprise. We see him blurry because we're seeing him through Kara's eyes. She's on the ground. She's been beat up by Reactron. She's, having a hard time even seeing, and she kind of blurrily sees this vision of a hero coming down to save her and help her out of this situation. When she wakes up, she's indignant. She's pissed off at everybody that Superman showed up, which, of course, why not? You're about to be killed. You should be pissed off that someone would come and help you, right? But anyway, she's indignant, and of course the whole idea of the show is girls are just as good as boys, girls are just as powerful as boys, girls can do everything boys can do, and we're going to do it even if we're about to be dead, and we don't want anybody coming in to help us because we don't need it, damn it. And I get all that, but she does need it, and not because she's a girl, and not because she's younger, but younger oftentimes comes with less experience. Younger oftentimes comes with less ability because you haven't yet mastered what it is that you do have. So, she shouldn't be able to beat Reactron, especially since they go to great pains to tell us that Superman hasn't been able to either. It does seem like he has the upper hand enough that Reactron runs away every time, because as soon as he lands here to help Kara, he doesn't throw one punch, nothing even happens. Reactron just flies off. And I also feel it's very out of character that Superman will just allow him to fly off every time. Because I assume that every time he shows up and starts blowing things up in Metropolis, the several times they've met and fought to a standstill, people must be hurt and there must be great damage happening, and yet he lets him get away and just forgets about the fact that he's out there. Why do I assume that? Because here, Reactron's able to show up and beat up Supergirl several times, and the reason he's able to do that is because Superman has apparently fought him to a standstill and then just let him leave. I get it, if he can't stop him, what else is he supposed to do? I suppose, but I don't think he would just let him go bounding about and show up whenever he wanted and start killing people, which is what he does in this episode. It's very unlikely, and I said it at the beginning, that Supergirl would then be able to defeat Reactron if Superman was never able to. Now, I get it. She has help from her sister and from Hank Henshaw and from the Department of Extramarital Affairs. Whatever they are, she is able to have this little earpiece and talk to them, and they talk her through the fight, and they say if she overloads the plate in his chest armor, that she'll be able to defeat him and shut him down, which Superman probably should have been able to figure out without anybody even telling him. But if he couldn't, he also has scientist friends. Hamilton he's gone to before in the comics these days. Sometimes he calls in Toymaker. He's gone to Batman. He's gone to Wonder Woman. He gets help at times, and I know last episode they made a big deal about Supergirl saying, I don't want to be a hero like him. I want to have friends around me and help whenever I can. So they're making a big deal about that, but Superman's not this guy who goes flying into trouble. I mean, he does, but he doesn't always just go into a battle even when he knows he doesn't know how to win it. Especially if he's gone into it lost, he'll oftentimes look elsewhere for inspiration or help or a way to win the next time. She seems dead set against doing that. And it's kind of stupid. But I did love the episode, and I do love the inspirational feeling, and I love the idea that both of these characters can be equals, although it would be more on the equal side if, at the very least, and that would still be unrealistic, if she was able to fight Reactron to a standstill and cause him to run away. Because then we wouldn't be saying, one is better than the other. The whole point is she's every bit as much the hero as he is. She's just as good as he is. I can do exactly what he can do, except she did more than what he can do. So we've gone a step further than being just as good or equal or just as much. Now she can do more than he could do. And yes, again, she had help, and it was kind of like a dirty way of fighting. Not really, because you're going to do whatever you can to stop somebody. But the idea that it seems like Superman and Reactron just hit each other for 10 minutes or an hour or however long, and then they go their separate ways instead of trying to end the fight in kind of a smarter way, which has been a lot of people's problem with Superman for a long time. Like, he's just this dumb bruiser who beats people down or punches people and doesn't think or doesn't have a plan. But we who are real fans know that that's not really true, but that's kind of what they're showing him as here. And the other thing is that Jimmy outs Clark, tells people, everyone in the room, that Clark Kent is Superman. So Windshot now knows. I guess that's the only person who knows. But he just said it out loud. I mean, I guess he thought he was among friends and everybody knew all the secrets in that room, but that was a little silly. I mean, James is supposed to be all mature and grown up now, and he just let that go without even really thinking about it. Kind of inconsiderate, don't you think? But I still like the feeling of the show. I got very teary when she did win, even though I was conflicted because I didn't think it should happen that way. I know it's her show. I know they need to make her shine. I know they need to show that she can be just as much a hero as Superman. I just don't know if this was the way to go about it, to immediately make a big deal about how he couldn't do something but she can. Or maybe that's not going to be a running theme so that she's always better, but just they wanted to establish this right here, that sometimes there's going to be things even Superman can't handle, but maybe Supergirl can. Although anybody could have if they did what she did. And it probably would have been easier and quicker had Superman done that earlier. So maybe he just didn't think. He was stupid at that time. I don't know. But I probably wouldn't have gone that far as to have her win that handily and easily the second time she meets him. But I still enjoyed the episode. And then the conversation at the end was very sweet and very awesome. And it was very Clark of him to not even care. Like, it wasn't like he was upset about it. He wasn't jealous about it. He wasn't, he didn't envy her. He said, hey, way to go, something I couldn't even do, which is something Clark would do. He doesn't have a problem with people succeeding where maybe he couldn't. He's happy for them. He congratulates people. He's proud of people. And the conversation they have on the computer was very cool. It gave her more confidence. It made her feel better, even though she was the one who was able to beat someone that he couldn't. And if they're going to have every once in a while little appearances of Superman in this manner, I think that'll work, because it is her show, and we don't want him flying in to save her every time. So I guess that's really why they had to have her win on her own. But I think it still would have been better if Reactron just left or escaped or something like that, because then it would have been more, well, neither one of them won, just like with Superman, but she was able to chase him off and save the city anyway. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.